But let's get to this video here. Short video. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speaking about the Democratic Party.
It's pretty clear that the DNC does not want a primary. I don't want to say that they want a coronation, but that's, I think that that's a fair way to put it, actually. They're doing, they're essentially, they're fixing the process so that it makes it almost impossible to have democracy function. They're effectively disenfranchising the Democratic voters from having any choice in who becomes president or who becomes the Democratic nominee. So two of the things they've done to date is they've moved the Iowa primary. They've made rules that if anybody campaigns in Iowa or any candidate sets foot in the state of Iowa or sets foot in the state of New Hampshire, then none of the votes that are cast for that candidate will be taxed.
That's insane. And Sabby covered it, but that's absolutely insane. But did we not know this? Did we not expect this? What I have a problem with RFK and Marianne Williamson complaining about the Democratic Party is, didn't you know this in the beginning? If you know that thing over there has a flu germ, and if I touch it, I'm going to get the flu, and you go over and get the flu, why do you, I'm supposed to go through all these emotions with you about catching the flu when you were told? You knew this. So you're complaining about something you already knew was going to happen. But what is your remedy? Are you going to get out of the party, or are you just going to take it and do nothing and complain? What does that do to just not do anything about it? Think about that. Marianne Williamson is getting shut out. RFK is getting shut out. No debates. And what do? None. And they're going to support the Democratic nominee after that. Great ideas with a loser strategy does what?
Allied. In other words, any delegate that I win in New Hampshire or Iowa would go instead to the president. And now they're trying to change it so that if I campaign in New Hampshire, that none of the votes cast for me in Georgia will count. And that's significant because it's hard to win the nomination without Georgia.
What is the logic?
They're rigging it so that it, effectively, we're looking at the tabulations now that look like if you add up all the super delegates that they control and all of the automatic delegates that just go to the party and go to the president, I would have to win almost 80% of all of the states in order to beat President Biden, even if he only wins 20%.
And yet you continue on. So what is your strategy then in light of this for defeating President Biden?
These rules will not be finalized until September 14th, and we've written the DNC protesting. I mean, there's some really wild things that they're now considering, including forcing me to actually pay for the primaries. And their logic is that they don't need a primary because they already have a candidate. And therefore, I'm costing them all this money, and that money should be paid for by me and, maybe Marianne Williamson. So it's not, it's a process that is rigged. And we live at a time in American history when a lot of Americans think that democracy is broken, that the political system is rigged, and that there's not really any democracy. And unfortunately, the DNC is taking a lot of steps that confirm that outlook.
If the decision holds for the current, sort of primary structure with the DNC, what is the route to victory for you?
That's the question we're asking. If they're going to not hold a primary, what are you doing? What, like, literally, what are you and Marianne Williamson doing if there's no primary? If there's no process that gets you electoral votes, what is the point of your campaign? Let's listen to a little more of this here.
Against President Biden.
Oh, if the DNC is going to rig it so that it is simply impossible for anybody to challenge President Biden, then I need to look at other alternatives, because I can't go back to the people support me and to my donors and say, I'm in this to make a point. I need to show them a road to victory.
What kind of alternatives would you be exploring, Mr. Kennedy?
Well, I don't know exactly, because I want to see what the DNC does. I want to see if they make it if they make it a fair contest. And I'm not asking that it be 100% fair, but I'm asking that there at least be, a chance that it be plausible for somebody else to win other than their, chosen anointed candidate.
They're not going to do this, sir. What do you think? So this is what the big news, he's teasing a third-party run. Do you think he's teasing a third-party run? Where could he go? Definitely couldn't go to the Green Party. Couldn't go to the Socialist Party. Do you think he would switch to a Republican Party? I don't think so. People's Party? Maybe. He is known for his COVID stuff, and the People's Party is is one of their number one things they kind of go after is COVID stuff with Nick Brana. Just saying, they kind of align, so maybe that's the deal. But then you don't have access, so isn't that worse? Or actually, it's effective the same. I guess it's the same. You're not getting any electoral votes through the Democratic Party, and you're not getting any through the People's Party. Why don't you and Marianne Williamson hold a debate? Don't call it a debate, because I know there's rules against it. All of these rules against democracy by the Democratic Party has all these rules and super delegates to ensure democracy by blocking out democracy. That's how you're ensuring it. That's the same way, stopping war by having a war. Same sort of logic.